How to break into tech sales and join companies like Google, OpenAI, AWS, Microsoft, or Nvidia. Tech sales is one of the fastest and most realistic ways to break into tech and build a multiple six-figure career, even without a technical background. My name is Matteo and I work in tech sales at AWS. And today, guys, I will break down for you the exact steps, strategies, and frameworks that I have used to help you land those high-paying sales opportunities. So let's get into it. The first decision that you will have to take in your tech sales career is either if you want to start working for a startup or a scale-up, or start from big tech sales. So if you don't care about startups and scale-ups, well, then go into big tech directly. But if you actually have a true passion for startups and scale-ups like I do, my honest recommendation is still to start from big tech sales and then move later on to a startup and scale up. And I'll explain you exactly why in a second. I say this to you because I have experienced both just in the opposite direction. So I started 2.5 years working in a fintech startup in Italy, and then I moved into tech sales here in Germany with AWS. I realized that while it worked out very well for me, the optimal path would be the exact opposite. And the reason is that startups teach you a lot, right? Startups teach you a lot in terms of ownership on how to get shit done, basically. And you are responsible for multiple tasks inside the company, multiple areas of the business. However, what startups usually lack, which is very useful in your early career, is method and structure. So what do I mean by that? If you start doing sales in a startup, you won't have probably clear guidance and structure and method that you can learn to execute and bring deals for the company. Yes, you will learn a lot because you will have just, to learn by yourself, but you don't access, world-class level sales trainings and just, a clear method that you can use that actually works and that then you can improve. And what big tech gives you, especially in your early career, is world-class level sales training, a clear method that you can use to prospect, qualify, and close deals, and a global brand recognition. And this gives you the perfect foundation, in my opinion, to build your sales career. And later on, it's much easier to join a fast-growing startup or scale-up, and you will be compensated much more if you started with a big tech background. So if you can choose and you have no experience in sales, I would really recommend you start from a company that can give you, very good training and methodology that gives you a great foundation that you can build upon. Okay, guys, now let's move on to the exact strategy that I have used and that I recommend to you to break into tech sales. And the first thing you want to do is make a short list of companies that you would like to work for. So what I'm about to tell you guys, that is the exact strategy that works, is very different from the general advice and consensus that you can hear here and there when it comes to applications. So you will hear, people telling you, Matteo, you have to send 100, 200, 300 applications. Just copy, paste, change a few things. It's a volumes game. You got to play the volumes game. I think this is completely bullshit, guys. And I believe that, and this has also worked for me, that you should go into, your job search in a very strategic and intentional way, like you were to do an enterprise sales deal. So what do I mean by that, and why do I use this analogy? Is that because I think when you do a job search, you should do in-depth research on the companies that you would like to work for and where you can position yourself best. So that's why I say start with a short list of 5 to 10 companies that you actually are interested into working, because you don't want to sell something that you don't believe in, that you don't care about, and that you don't like, right? So find companies that actually have built something with track record and that interest you, right? So this is very important. And if you start your job search approach like this, I guarantee you that you will be already ahead of 90% of job applicants. So when it comes to building your shortlist, I recommend you look into these things for each of the companies you are evaluating. First of all, their products. As we said, it's important that you like or you are interested into the product that you would be selling. Second, the market. Who exactly are they selling to? Are they selling to SMBs, to mid-market organizations, to enterprise, or to each of these segments, right? You have to understand which kind of market they are serving in terms of geography. Is it Europe? Is it Middle East? Is it the US? Is it worldwide, right? So you have to understand this so you can later on try to understand where you can position yourself better. And also the segment, meaning SMBs, mid-market or enterprise, small organizations, bigger or larger corporations. Sales cycles differs. If you're selling to SMBs, sales cycles are much quicker. So if you're interested into quicker sales, you should look into companies that are selling to SMBs. If you are interested into more complex, longer and strategic deals, maybe you should look into, complex solutions that are selling to enterprise customers. Then for me, it's very important to look at the people that are working inside the company. What is the culture there? What is the average age of the people? Do you want to stay with, young peers or with senior peers? Try to understand this. Try to picture yourself in the company working, at least 8 hours per day for a few years of your life. So you will spend a lot of time with the company. So you research in depth. So after you pulled all the data, try to understand what is important to you, right? What do you care about in your day-to-day? What you would be like to selling? And I'm sure you will understand which kind of company fits you and which doesn't. So the companies that fit you, put in the short list and reach to 5 to 10 companies. And now we will start our strategic application process. Now here's where things gets interesting. Again, everybody will tell you, okay, now I have the short list. Just apply to every job position that comes out there. But I'm telling you something completely different that again worked for me and I think still works very well and puts you ahead of 99% of job applicants. So don't apply to any job position yet. What you should do instead, you should try to network and build a genuine relationship with some of the people that you are looking up to inside that company. So let's assume that you find a company that is selling both to SMBs and enterprise organizations, and you are more interested into selling to enterprise organizations, for example. So what you want to do is to try to network and establish genuine connections with people that are working in sales inside the company that interests you in the enterprise segment. So what I would be doing is I would reach out to account executives, BDRs, sales managers, HR people. So I would, network with HR or better, in my opinion, directly salespeople and sales manager inside the company. And you want to outreach those people using LinkedIn. But again, you don't want to ask for anything at this stage. You should really start by establishing a genuine relationship. Imagine that those are the colleagues that you will be working with tomorrow, right? So what you want to do, you want to learn more about them. You want to learn more about their job and learn more about the company. So what I would do is I would reach out to, let's say, an enterprise account executive to the company that interests you, and the message that you could send, assuming that the name of the guy is Mark, let's say, enterprise account executive at that company, could be, hey Mark, I just came across your profile. I would love to learn more about your day-to-day role and how is it like working to company name. When you send out this kind of message, that is like a message where you just want to learn more about, the day-to-day of a normal person, right? This typically gets a high conversion rate, meaning people will respond to you like, hey, I'm sure I'm happy to tell you more about what I'm doing, because people love to talk about themselves, right? This is one of the keys of influence and persuasion, is that at the end of the day, people love to talk about themselves. So ask them questions, right? Ask them questions without anything in return. Just ask them, how is it working there at a company? I would like to learn more about your day-to-day. And this is not just for, a strategic move, but it's actually something very useful that should be very interesting and useful for you, because you would actually learn from someone that is working inside a company how exactly is the day-to-day, so that you can understand if that actually makes sense for you. Is that something that actually interests you, right? And also that person can tell you what are the dynamics inside the company, how is it really like working inside the company behind, the maybe flashy logo that the company might have. And for me, this is something extremely valuable. And I'm telling you guys, this strategy, nobody is using this and works like magic. So trust me, it really works. So with this person that you outreach, you will probably have a Zoom, Google Meet conversation, maybe 15-minute coffee chat. And again, don't ask anything in return. Just be curious about the company, be curious about their role. If you show genuine interest, I guarantee you that people will be open to refer you, because after you ask a bunch of questions, they will ask you as well, like, why are you looking to the company? Are you looking to roles and so on? And will come natural for them to say, hey, I would love to refer you if something comes up, right? So trust me, start by being interested and get the information that you actually care about the company, and they will be happy to refer you. So this is how you wanna strategically apply to companies. And so now we come to the best way to applying to a job, which is getting the referral. So you don't want to apply without a referral, you want to get the referral, and this is the best way to get a referral from someone working inside a company. And guess what? If you want to apply to an account executive position and an enterprise account executive from that exact company refers you, well, that puts you 99.9% ahead in the eyes of HR to be the right fit for that role, right? From someone that doesn't have, any referral, or from someone that has a general referral from, a person working in marketing inside the company just because they are friends, right? You went strategic, you went with the right people, and you got the referral from the right people. And I guarantee you this will get you to the first interview round. Before jumping into how to crush the interviews, it's important that you know what exactly you are applying for. So in terms of experience, if you have 0 to 2 years of experience, I'm talking about big tech companies, the Google, the AWS, the OpenAI, the Nvidia, and so on, you should be looking for a BDR or SDR position from 0 to 2 years of experience. If you apply, with 1 year experience to account executive, you can get a referral, but you just won't get the interview, I'm telling you. If you have 3+ years of sales experience, then you can apply for account executive position, or if you're interested into managing people, to a sales manager position, like manager of BDR manager, or if you want to, in the sales process, not really hunt new customers, but really keep the relationship going, you could apply for an account manager position. Account manager, sometimes you can get into, with just, 1 year of experience. If it's a real sales organization, account manager is an important role that you can access after at least 3 years of experience, like an account executive, because you will be responsible of key strategic relationships. Sometimes this role is, misused, and you see like super junior people get into an AM role, but that's not actually really, what we are looking to right now. So once you understood the role that you will be applying for, it's good to have an understanding also of the compensation package that you can expect. So when you are a BDR or SDR, remember that you are building and qualifying sales pipeline. So you are not actually reading closing deals, but you're building the sales pipeline that eventually gets closed by the account executive. In tech sales, all the salaries are expressed as OTE, on target earnings. And the on target earnings means a base salary plus a commission, right? And eventually also a stock package. Sometimes the stock package is included in the OTE, sometimes it's extra, it really depends on the company. Anyways, as a BDR, what you can expect typically is a base salary plus a commission that is typically capped. Sometimes can be uncapped, but typically is capped. Meaning if you reach 100% of your goal, you will get your full bonus, but you can go beyond that. And you can expect something like a base salary plus 30% of your base salary as commissions. So let's assume you have a 45K base, you would get a 15K bonus with 100% of goal attainment, so you get a 60K OTE in your offer. Then if you are an account executive and now you are responsible for closing deals and actually bringing to revenue to the company, typically your OTE is uncapped, meaning you can go beyond the 100% goal attainment and earn more beyond that. And in terms of a base to variable split, you can expect like a base salary and a variable compensation that is from 50 to 100% of your base salary for 100% of goal attainment. So what do I mean by that? Let's assume that you have an 80K base salary and you have an 80K bonus with a 160K OTE compensation with 100% of your quota attainment achieved, so of your yearly sales goal achieved. So if you go beyond 100% attainment, meaning you sell more than what the company expected you to sell in that year, you will earn more. And what you can expect for account manager position is typically similar to account executive. However, account executive commissions and bonus are typically higher because you are closing new deals and you are more focused into generating new revenue for the company. So now that you got the referral because you went strategic on LinkedIn with the strategy that we have talked before, and you have a full understanding of the roles that you can apply to, as well as the OT compensations that you can expect, now you have to focus on the interview, because getting the interview is step one and crashing the interview is step two. And both the steps are very important, because you might be the best seller in the world, but if you're not actually able to communicate your experience and what you have achieved in a clear and specific way, I guarantee you won't pass the interview. So let's get into this. So when it comes to big tech interviews, you have to understand that HR or sales managers don't care about random answers about your experience, but they want you to follow a clear structure in your response. So they want to hear about your real professional stories, but in a methodical way. So the kind of questions that you can expect are typically structured behavioral questions. So to give you guys a concrete example with Amazon or AWS, this is public information that you can also, verify online. Amazon focuses on three things. First of all, leadership principles, which are principles that each employee of the company should embody. So the company wants to make sure that each employee that gets hired reflects these principles and values. So this is something specific to Amazon, but not really, because each major tech company has its own, guidelines in terms of principles and core values, and the HR will make sure that you reflect those. So make sure you study those, you understand those for each of the company you apply and have an interview with. So adjust this based on the interview and the person you will be speaking to. In terms of questions, Amazon as well as all the other big techs will ask you behavioral questions. So how you handle specific situations. Now we'll see some examples. And Amazon in particular expects you to answer with a so-called STAR framework, which is also pretty common among all the other companies. And the STAR framework stands for situation, task, action, and result. So for each question that you get, you should start with the situation, explaining the context around what you are about to talk, the task, so what you had to do in order to solve the kind of problem, the action that you actually did, which maybe sometimes differs from the task, that you were assigned to, and the results. So it's very important that you clearly outline the results. Numbers are better than just, words. So give specific results, numbers of what you have achieved. So guys, let me give you a couple of real questions that you can expect. And these, I just pulled them from the Amazon website, so they are public. Describe a time when you went above and beyond for a customer. So this is a clear question around leadership principle for customer obsession. So you have to you don't have to name the leadership principle, but you have to use the STAR framework, situation, task, action, and result, to tell about a time when you over-deliver, you went above and beyond for a customer. Another question could be, tell me about a time when you faced a problem with multiple solutions. How did you decide? So this is a question where, the big tech company wants to understand what is your decision-making process. They want to understand how you behave in certain situations. Another one could be, describe a time when you took a risk or failed, what happened and what did you learn, right? Because we all know that humans are not perfect. We make mistakes, but an important thing as a behavioral question is understanding what exactly did you learn, with the STAR method, when you failed or when you took a risk. So that's very, very important. So these are some of the questions, guys. You can find online many more. Just type STAR behavioral questions for big tech interviews, and you will find a bunch that you can practice. So my recommendation is that you really tailor your approach and responses based on the company you are interviewing with, because there will be difference in terms of the core values, leadership principles, and maybe, the STAR is valid for a few companies, but not from others. So really understand what the company requires. So guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video, and let me know down in the comments at which companies or roles you are currently applying. I'm curious to hear, and also connect with me on LinkedIn. You'll find me as Matteo Isenberg on LinkedIn. Happy to connect there. And also let me know which kind of tech sales content you would like to see on the channel, and see you on to the next video.